wagons, wagon trains, Indians, Mormons. Oh my! Be prepared for this and much more as we explore the history of the trails of the western United States. A Common Craft video in plain English. The year was 1850 and the future looked bright. The Lewis and Clark expedition of Louisiana Territory opened up millions of acres of land to settlers. And the Texas Revolution and the Mexican-American War added miles of new Spanish land to the country. That's how the Western trails were born. The famous ones include the Santa Fe Trail, which starts at Independence and goes to Santa Fe, the Old Spanish Trail, which goes from Santa Fe to Los Angeles, the California Trail, which goes from Fort Hall to Sacramento, the Oregon Trail, which goes from Independence to Oregon, and the Mormon Trail, which goes from Nauvoo, Illinois to Salt Lake City. The trails were founded by different people for different means. The Santa Fe Trail was founded by William Becknell as a trading route, while the Mormon Trail was founded by Brigham Young as a means of religious escape for the Mormons. And the Oregon Trail was a way to reach unsettled lands of Oregon. But the trail weren't all fun and games. There were many dangers lurking on the trails. Many people weren't prepared to take the nearly 2,000-mile journey across the trails. Lack of supplies led to many people starving, and bad planning ended up getting the travelers stuck on the trails and in the snow. Diseases like typhoid, cholera, and measles swept across the trails and killed all those who weren't ready for them. Indian attacks were also very feared by the travelers, but they weren't actually as much trouble as suspected. The terrain was also very dangerous. Rivers and mountains also presented challenges to travelers and settlers. One famous instance of this was the Donner Party. The Donner Party was a group of settlers who, while traveling down the Oregon Trail in May of 1864, got trapped on the mountains while taking a shortcut through the Sierra Nevada that actually added 100 miles to the journey. 30 miles from the California plains, their axle broke and they were forced to stop for the night. That night, it snowed over 50 inches, trapping them in the winter. Soon they ran out of food and were forced to resort to cannibalism. Even the wind held its breath.
Even the wind held its breath as the suggestion was made that were one to die, the rest might live.
They ate their first person on Christmas Day. Rescue teams were sent and they discovered George Donner's body with its skull split open and labeled body bags so they wouldn't eat their own family, and kettles full of blood. That's why it's always good to stock up on supplies before a long trip. Some of the necessities are dried foods that don't go bad easy, guns, ammunition, horse, and cattle, medical supplies, tools for a wagon, and personal belongings. Take things to eat like pots, pans, and silverware, and don't forget about clothing items. Hunting is a necessity when crossing the plains. Boom! Some good animals for hunting are buffalo, rabbit, antelope, or even squirrel. Do you want to have some friscated squirrel? You'll need 1 squirrel, skinned, 3 slices of bacon, 1 onion, salt, pepper, and flour. It's always important to keep a good wagon to haul. Keep supplies on hand to help if it breaks. Have all of this and you won't end up like the Donner Party. The trails were home to many famous faces. One of the biggest faces around was Jedediah Smith. Jedediah was a rugged fur trader who heard of a break in the Rocky Mountains from surrounding Native Americans that was publicized and very quickly became known as the South Pass. The discovery of the South Pass in 1862, or 24, revolutionized the Western movement by letting many settlers navigate through the treacherous mountains and cemented Smith's place in history. Brigham Young was another iconic person of the West. Brigham Young was the head of the Mormon religion in Illinois who, when the church founder of Joseph Smith was killed by an anti-Mormon mob, in 1844, moved his people out of Illinois and to the west in 1847. He led the Mormons down the trails to Utah and started the city of Salt Lake City. There, the people of Mormon could practice their religion freely without judgment of others. And who could forget the Western hero, Jem Buckworth, a former slave who founded the path through the Sierra Nevadas in 1850, opening California to people. Other famous faces included missionaries like Marcus and Nicrissa Whitman, and fur trader William Henry Ashley, and the Stager family pioneers. All these famous Americans helped to shape the history of the West as we know it. This has been a Common Crafts history of the Western Trails. We hope you enjoyed it and learned something too.